Hello, and welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast, where we dive deep into the world of manifestation, the law of attraction, hypnosis, and the unlimited potential of your mind. You are listening to episode number 302. I'm Victoria Gallagher, and just a quick reminder to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so that you never miss an episode. If you're new to this show or you are new to me, allow me to introduce myself. Once again, I'm Victoria Gallagher, and I'm a best-selling author, hypnotherapist for over 25 years, a digital and course creator, a speaker, entrepreneur, and I specialize in helping people, especially business professionals, to use the power of their mind to manifest success through breakthrough practical strategies, including the law of attraction and hypnosis. And I am so passionate about personal growth, meditation, learning. Of course, I love cats. And I am the visionary behind the latest hypnosis app, Believe, which is designed to help you to change your life by making powerful hypnotherapy and manifestation techniques available to everyone. And I am on a mission to help millions of people worldwide to manifest their dreams and their goals. And just to give you a little bit of a background on today's episode. So, today's episode is all about how to manifest your dream house, your dream home. And, I think that's one of the keys, to a successful life is to be happy in the environment in which you spend the vast majority of your time. And so I want to just talk to you just a little bit about my own personal journey to manifesting my own dream house. So I am sitting here coming to you from the studio where I make all my recordings and where I make these podcasts. And this is like my creative room in the house. And I actually saw myself way back when I was visualizing my dream home, manifesting my dream home, having a dedicated studio where I did that. And I always did have like a special place in my house, but when I was renting, I couldn't put up all of the tiles and everything that I needed, and I couldn't really just get things exactly how I wanted. So I always envisioned myself, having the perfect podcast studio, and I just love it. I just love this room, and it just makes me feel so creative, so inspired, so empowered. And I really feel like I'm integrity when I'm sitting in here working and talking to you about how you can manifest things, because I've got everything that I need right here in this room. And I've got these two beautiful, luscious teal chairs just across from me, these really pretty silvery curtains just across the way. And the light comes in through the windows. I can look outside and it's quiet in here. It's so, so super quiet because you can't really tell because of the bookcase behind me, but you can see those, little tiles there. They're all over. I got like 1,000 of those. And it took me a little while to kind of figure out the design. I was getting a little bit like too I was really trying to figure out, and actually it just I what ended I took them all down one day because it was just like this weird pattern, and the pattern just wasn't working for me. And so I just like literally I just intuitively I just picked up a tile, put it on the wall, and just kind of went step by step that way, and it actually turned into a wonderful, beautiful tile. But that's not exactly what you're here to talk about, even though the studio is very much part of my overall goal that I had when manifesting my dream house. And I think actually, while I'm on that topic, what is it for you? Now, you're listening to this podcast, hopefully, wanting to make some kind of major change in your life, perhaps manifesting your own dream home. But this podcast, you can follow the same steps, and you can follow these steps for anything that you want to manifest. This could be used if you want to manifest a dream car, which I did. I actually have a whole story about how I manifested my dream car. Now, that was about over 10 years ago. That car is getting a little long in the tooth right now, as my husband would say. That's like one of his favorite expressions. And I also manifested my husband, like say, like all the things I use on a day-to-day basis, my business, every single thing in this business, I have manifested. So like what you can do is you can follow this podcast, and this is going to be a little bit more specifically related to things that you can relate to when it comes to manifesting a dream house. So where did it begin? I want to take you all the way back to when I was a child and I wanted to manifest a dream house. Now, I actually would draw out the house. I would actually spend time drawing with a pencil and a piece of paper, and I would draw it out. I would make these elaborate floor plans. It would be like a bird's eye view, and it would be like looking at the house from a bird's eye view. And I would put, like is the master bedroom, and there was going to be 10 bedrooms. That was like when I was a child, it was just like there were going to be 10 bedrooms. There was going to be an elevator. There was going to be an indoor pool, an outdoor pool. I remember this like it was yesterday. And this was decades ago. But there was, and there was going to be a sauna and a jacuzzi and like, I don't know, like a little bit of everything. When you're a child, you have the best imagination. And I want to tell you, if you are a parent out there and you have children that have great imaginations, just let them dream. That is, I'm telling you, because imagination is something, it was a gift that we were all born with. And as children, we have the best imaginations, but then it just gets chipped away and chipped away by, parents saying, oh, that's just your imagination, or by the teachers in school telling you, not to daydream. And we get told and we get stifled into these little boxes that we're not supposed to draw outside the lines, and we're supposed to do everything inside of the box. And screw all that. Like, you need to help your children to keep their imagination and keep dreaming and keep dreaming bigger, because that is the key to manifestation, is your imagination. Manifestation is imagination. It's taking whatever you have in your imagination and following the guidance that you are being given by the universe to, you're communicating with the universal intelligence through the imagination. And so the more you communicate with that, and the more you communicate to your own subconscious mind, the more you are going to be given the keys to the kingdom, and the answers to all your questions are all right there by using your imagination. So keep dreaming big. All right, so that's where it started really with me, was when I was a kid. Now, of course, as time went on, my imagination was stifled just like everybody else's. And, you saw the way that ordinary people live, and of course, the way that we grew up, and the houses and the apartments. And I mean, and as an adult, then, you're out there like getting your own first apartment. It's obviously not going to be your dream house. And so, your imagination does start to get a little bit chipped away. And so did mine. So, you know, no, I don't have an elevator in my house. No, I don't have 10 bedrooms. No, I don't have an indoor and outdoor pool. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a pool. That was the one thing out of my entire list of things that I wanted to have that did not come with this house. But we are working on it. We've got a humongous backyard. a backyard way bigger than we could ever need for, the purpose of building a pool. And it is now our goal to build that within the next year. So that being said, where did this house that I manifested basically 3 years ago, how did that come about? Well, it started with me like just having, obviously, I had this idea from the time I was young, and I did actually own a house back many, many years ago with my first husband. And, we had that house for a few years, and, then things didn't work out with our relationship. So we sold that house, and I never had another house that I owned again from that point. So then, once my husband and I got together, he was never really like, he never really thought about buying a house. It was just not, it didn't really occur to him. He's always been somebody that kind of liked to move around, a little bit more than I like to before we met. So it wasn't really something that really was on his radar. And I was the one that really introduced this idea of, of getting into our dream house. So here was the first thing that when I described my dream house, I always said it's $1 million house, it's $1 million house, it's $1 million house. And so, I started like looking every night before bed. I had this idea of what it was. Like it was so many bedrooms, so many bathrooms, so many square feet. And then I would look literally on realtor.com, realtor, not realtor. I know it's like two syllables. Would look on realtor.com for these houses. And I was always like looking in the $1 million range, even though that we didn't have a budget for $1 million house. So it just kept we were living in a house that we were renting for quite some time. And we would constantly have to tell the landlord, oh, we're going to need another 6 months, another 6 months, another 6 months. So meanwhile, like every night though, every night I would visualize by looking at the houses, the literal houses that were available. And I would, every once in a while, I'd show my husband, I'd be like, hey, look at this house. And he was like, yeah, yeah. And then we would go for hikes, and I would say, hey, let's talk about, and I would start to introduce the, like, let's just talk about our life right now as if we are living in our dream house. It was just like play with me. It was just pretend. He would just, just indulge me a little bit. But again, it just wasn't really something like it was totally on his radar. So much of this was really just coming from me at that time. And that's one of the things I think is really important is, it does work a little faster when you have both of your minds, if you are in a relationship with somebody, to get that other person on board with you. Because, he wasn't against it, but he wasn't like, really actively pursuing it, if that makes sense. So, this went on for actually a few years. So I had my intention. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted a 5-bedroom house with a minimum of 3 bathrooms, at least 3,000 square feet. And, when I say 5 bedrooms, people are always looking at me like I have 10 heads because they're like, you guys don't even have any kids. Why do you need so many bedrooms? Well, let me tell you. I would like a dedicated, I always said this, because we would have guests come over, and then it's like, oh, where do you put this person? And where are they going to put their clothes and their suitcases and all of that? And I've been that guest in other people's, and I don't like it when you're going to stay with somebody and you can't figure out, like, where am I going to, because it's always the room that's utilized for something else. And so where am I going to put all my clothes? And I always, even though we don't even really have that many guests, honestly, I wanted a dedicated uh guest bedroom with its own guest bathroom, with a closet and dressers and end tables that never get used unless guests come. And I've been adamant about that. And so that was one of the purposes to have that. Plus, I always wanted Steve to have his own room that's separate from our general master bedroom. I always have my own offices. I always have two offices, and I wanted him to have his own room. So I needed my two offices. We needed our master. We needed a guest bedroom, and then we needed a, room for him. So that's 5. Well, so then, and all this while to come up with all the rooms and the square footage. Typically, in today's market, like that was like, if it was going to be a nice house and in a nice neighborhood that you really want to live in, that would be $1 million house. So this whole time, I'm coming from this idea that in order to get that house, I had to spend that much money. So that's where the intention and that's where the amount and everything like that came from. So the thing happened, this is where you have to like really pay attention to the signs that the universe is sending to you. Because here's what happened. July 2020, when COVID was in, the crazy time, um, we got the call from, it wasn't even a call, it was a text message from our landlord who was renting the house to us at the time. And he was living in Colorado. We were in Cave Creek, Arizona. And we got the message that they are not going to be able to renew our lease this year. And so the very, very first thing that came to my mind was that, oh, we were gonna have to like we weren't ready to buy a house yet. We were still feeling like we were still in that same situation. So it was like, oh, this is horrible news. Like people are not even showing places. It's really kind of difficult to go and meet with people and all of that because the whole virus thing was going on. And literally over the first hour of getting that, I was a little distraught. And I shared that information with Steve, and of course he was a little distraught. And and we were kind of thinking like, oh, we're going to have to find a new place to live. And that's all we could really, come up with at that moment. And then bing, I was open to what the universe had in store for me. And I said, do you think maybe it's time for us to just go ahead and, find the house? And even though we didn't have the budget for $1 million house, what could we afford right now? And so that's when I put it out to Steve that, I'm gonna get a hold of our realtor who happened to be our next door neighbor and a really dear friend of ours. So first thing was contacted her, and then she contacted the loan officer, and then we got approved for a certain amount of money for looking for the house. And then literally within the next week after we got pre-approved, we started looking for houses. And in Arizona at that time, I don't know what it was like where you live, but in Arizona, it was just a hot market. Like things are just going so quickly. You actually had to bid more for the house, which is crazy. And then, of course, taking Steve from where he was a little blasé about even like trying to find a house to within the first week of hearing this news, saying to him, We need to make an offer on this house, like, today. It was quite a lot to, try to get him on board with all that. But so the first house that we made an offer on, that just went. We underbid that. We got outbid by like $3,000, and we didn't even know that. Had we know that, we would have bid way more for that. But you live and you learn. And so this house that we're living in, we actually found this on August 4th, which just happens to be my birthday. So I'll never forget the day that we literally saw and laid eyes on this house for the very first time, just happened to be my birthday. And, we used a little bit of birthday magic to get the um owners of the house to like ultimately accept our offer. And so we moved into we closed on this house. We saw it for the very first time August 4th, and we closed on this house on uh, September 16th. We were supposed to close on the 15th, but we closed on September 16th, and we moved in. We had to move out of our old place on October 1st, and we moved into this place October 1st, 2020. And here it is. It'll be 4 years actually later on this year. So that is like the story. Now, what is this house? We bought the house for about a $500,000, and we didn't have to spend $1 million. We got what I considered, what I had always been visualizing as the $1 million house. Well, we got that house for just about a 500,000. And here's the thing. This is a 5-bedroom house plus an office. So we got an extra room. What did that extra room become? That extra room became my meditation Zen room. So he's got his man cave. We've got our Zen room, got my studio. We've got a guest bedroom with its own attached bathroom downstairs. We've got a beautiful master bedroom with a beautiful bathroom. We have a little Jack and Jill bathroom in between. We've got a little powder room. So that's 4 bathrooms. And then I've got my downstairs office. So my downstairs office is typically just, where I do my businessy kind of stuff. And then my upstairs, my studio is where I do all of my this kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the story of how we got into this house. And here's the magical thing about that. So I don't know if you realize, but interest rates at this point, our interest rate that we got was 2.875% or something like that. Like we literally got the house at the lowest interest rate you could possibly get. That's what it, was. And then on top of that, over the last few years, the real estate market has kaboomed. And so we're up about $300,000. So yeah, if we turned around and sold this house, we'd be selling it for about $800,000. So when you have very specific ideas about how things work. Sometimes my camera goes blurry like that, and there we go. Okay. When you have very specific ideas about how things are going to work, like if I had held out and said, nope, I'm not going to buy anything until I can afford $1 million house, we would have totally lost out on this house. We would have been paying rent for something, and we would have totally lost out on this house and all the appreciation and the low interest rate, that we're paying. And if we were to do all of that over again today, if we were to try to buy this house today at today's interest rates with the cost of the cost of the house today, our mortgage payment would be more than double what we're paying right now. If we were to buy this house today, we would pay twice for it that we're paying right now. So it's insane. It's absolutely insane the way that the timing worked on that. Like the universe was basically saying, Go now. And you have to be willing to listen when the universe you have to be open to things that don't always look exactly like you planned. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share with you when it comes to my personal story. Now, how did I do it? Let's break it down. The very first thing that you need to do, is you've got to be very clear. Now, notice how I had been working with, my iPad and looking at various different houses, and, it obviously, it seemed like, the house that I wanted was outside of my budget, but that's okay. It was like, "This is what I want." I wanted a five-bedroom house. I wanted a over this is like 300, 3,500 square feet, something like that. And, so I was very, very clear about my minimum requirements. So having a clear vision, having a mental image of what you want your home to look like. This isn't just about the type of house that you want. This is like the neighborhood, the interior design, and how you want to feel when you're in the house. How does it feel as you're walking through this house? And, so once you have like identified and you've gotten very clear, like don't worry about the how. Do not worry about the how, because when you worry about the how, you get attached to the how and you think that you can't have it and you think things like I can't afford it, like I was doing. But even though I didn't think that at the time I could afford it, as soon as the universe provided me with the like, I mean, it was a no-brainer, really, that, I mean, what are we gonna do? Like, go pay somebody else rent for however long? Or maybe this is the time, maybe it's time. And so you've gotta, like, be willing to kinda, when you've got to be willing to put it out there, what you want, even when you're not thinking that you're ready yet, okay? And so the next thing you want to do, I highly, highly recommend that you create a vision board. Now, I didn't do this because what I did instead was I just used my iPad and realtor.com, and that was my vision board. I would just put things in favorites. I would just favorite things, and then I would just look through them. And what I would do, what I, didn't mention is when I would find one that I really, really liked that I, wouldn't mind living in, I would just look at that image for the longest time. I would just look at it and then I would just transport myself into that home. And I would just imagine myself in that home. And aside from that, I also would just imagine myself walking into the front door or driving into, the garage every day, and I would just imagine myself walking into this beautiful home with a that's designed exactly the way that I wanted it. And the other thing that I did, so creating a vision board, that represents your dream home, whether it's digitally, whether it's on an actual whiteboard, that's a really, really good first step. The next thing you want to do, and this is the other thing that I did, and I didn't do this until we started the very specific looking, back in July when I was told that we needed so, when that first house after a week fell through, I said, "Okay, let me take a step back and let me just write this out." And I wrote out this, entire, little page, and I just exactly what I wanted it to be. Okay, I just went to go find this. This is what I wrote, and this is the detailed description that you want to write out. You want to write down every detail of your dream house, including the location, the features, how each room feels. You wanna, I highly recommend that you get very specific on a location and you stick with that location. This is one of the hardest decisions that you will have to make, is to narrow down your target location. Now, you don't have to necessarily, like, if something came up, it's going to knock on your door. It's going to call to you in some way, shape, or form. But when we first started looking, we, like all of Phoenix was, an option. But if you have too wide of a range, it's really hard to manifest something when you don't have a very specific target. I promise you that if you decide on, like, we decided on a zip code, we had to narrow it down and we had to sit down and we had to have many discussions over a very short period of time about where we wanted to live because anything can happen in that area if you just believe and you just focus on that one particular area where you want to live. And I got to tell you, that's one of the things I didn't even mention. This area is so amazing. We have amazing neighbors. We've got, we didn't even have like, we had to drive a little far out of the way for the grocery store at first. And then a new grocery store came a mile away. And so, we have hiking trails. I literally walk out my door and I walk, 300 feet down across from the mailbox, and boom, I'm on a trail. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love to do. So you've got to think about the area first. And then, of course, all of the attributes and details about the house itself. And so here's, I may not have time to finish this whole thing because I really want to give you a few more tips before we close this out. And I have a dentist appointment, so I have got to. But anyway, but this, if you could follow this as a framework for how to write yours, this worked. We were literally in the house, we were closing on our house a month after I wrote this. Now, of course, we were under that pressure. We had to go, but almost everything is like that. A lot of times when you are manifesting something big, the universe has to do something to kind of rearrange things. That's why you have to be very clear because the universe will figure it out. And, in this case, we weren't moving on it. It was obviously something that I was very passionate about, but we weren't taking any actions on it. We were telling ourselves the lie that so many people tell themselves. It's like, oh, we can't afford it, or it's not time yet, or whatever. We just, even though we were very passionate and I was at least, took a little while to, get Steve on board, but now he's like, he's way, way on board. Of course, since we've moved into this place, he's just been so wonderful and, so helpful. And, any fears or thoughts that we ever had about not being able to afford it, well, between the two of us, things have, definitely improved, especially for him. I mean, he's probably, since we moved into this house, like doubled his income, where he works. And so that's been a blessing. It's just, but there's been so many blessings. Anyway, so this was what I wrote. I'm feeling so happy, peaceful, and grateful knowing that we are manifesting the perfect house for the perfect price in the perfect timing. We feel so overjoyed and lucky to be on this amazing journey to seek and find a place that we love, that is special, and that we call home. Steve and I, Sebastian, Emerald, and Velvet, the home we shall find is even better than anything we've seen so far. It's comfortably and affordably priced. We love the price. We make an offer. They immediately accept our offer. The loan process goes smoothly, and we end up closing in time to move into our new place by October 1st, 2020. Our home is in Fireside at Norterra, Tremonto, Amber Hills, or Carefree Crossing. So that was all like different neighborhoods, pretty much right in the same zip code, one or two zip codes. Steve is happy with his commute to work. The cats are happy with their new home and even more spaces to run around. And it has the perfect convenient and hidden spaces for their litter box and just the right spot in the kitchen for them to enjoy their meals. I am happy because I feel like we got so lucky and found the exact right home. You could say that this is our dream home. It's just that great. Just one more example of how powerful I am at manifesting my dreams, goals, and desires. From the moment we walk in, we know we have found the one. That happened. We knew that, like the moment we walked in here, we knew this was our dream home. We both love it equally. We do. It has every feature we've been looking for. It's on the newer side. It is like 10 years old. Everything has a new, fresh, modern feeling from the floor to the ceiling. It's bright. There is plenty of natural light, and somehow it even stays cool during the summer. Oh my God. And it does. Um, our electric bill here, even though our house is like twice the size of our old house, is like less every month in the summer than our old house. We pay less and for twice the amount of space. It's insane. It's very quiet, safe, attractive neighborhood, plenty of walking paths, close to hiking, with helpful, caring, quiet, and friendly neighbors. I mean, I could go on and on. This there's even so much more I want to tell you about, but I have to close up this podcast because I I have to go. So I want to just give you a few more tips that you can use to manifest your dream home because I want everybody to like experience this. And one of the other little tips that I could tell you, one of the things I had to do is just another quick little story was in my old house in the bathroom, where I would put my hair dryer and my straightening iron, the little drawers, were just not big enough to fit all my stuff. And I would get so frustrated by that. And I would kind of like, you know, talk about how I can't wait to get away from these tiny little drawers in this bathroom. And I would kind of be moaning and complaining about that constantly. And so that's one of the things that I did before we ever even moved in here to make it possible for me to release the attachment to getting away from something. Because here's the thing. The more you focus on something, whether you're complaining about it or you're purposely trying to manifest it, you are going to whatever you focus on is what you're going to expand on. And so what I did was I made peace. And this is what you have to do. If there's anything in your current environment that's bugging you, you've got to make peace with it. You've got to completely embrace it. You've got to completely accept it. Trust me when I say this. It doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck there, but even just investing a little bit. So what I did is I organized my bathroom situation in such a way that that was just no longer like I got out of my box about it. I'm like, well, I don't really have to put my hair dryer in this drawer. It doesn't belong there. It's too big for this drawer. And so I found another place for it that's just as convenient. And I also kind of realized it's like, okay, well, I only dry my hair once or twice a week. I only wash and dry my hair once or why does the hair dryer always need to be there? Am I too lazy to just get it from a place where it fits better, and use this drawer space for what it's intended for, and just put, my brush and, a couple other, like, little bands and things like that in there and clips, and then find someplace else for the big ol' hair dryer, So, you wanna, like, almost, like, feng shui your, current situation so that you're utilizing the space in a much more efficient way, and then the universe will fill that empty space with more, and so, when, you have utilized it in the best, most efficient way, then it will help you, it's like what you resist persists. And the funny thing about that is like, thank goodness that I found a way to make that work because lo and behold, even though we've got this incredibly big, wonderful, beautiful bathroom, one of the other things that will be changing about that, will be the tiny little drawers. Because I still have tiny little drawers that don't really aren't conducive for my hair dryer. So, I made it work though. And there's a lot more space to put things. It's just that I still have those like drawers that are about like that big for you to put, all the hair stuff. Anyway, all that to say, you want to make peace with your existing whatever it is that you're replacing, whether it's your car or your house or even your relationship or your job. I kind of learned this from um oh, I can never remember the name of that book by Wallace D. Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. Okay. So in The Science of Getting Rich, he talks about always like, if you're wanting to manifest a new job, you got to like give 100% to the job that you have. And I kind of took that and I applied it to everything in my life. And I figured that that also applies to in the, making peace with the environment, making the most use out of what you already have, the best use out of what you already have. And that you'll be rewarded with more, you'll graduate to the next level. And I swear to God, as soon as I did that, and as soon as I wrote this and all the things that I'm telling you to do, boom, kaboom, our dream home manifested. So you want to regularly, when you write that, read it every day. Read it once or twice a day. Read it once when you wake up in the morning. Read it again before you go to bed. Wake up, do your dream home visualization, do a little walkthrough, do a quick walkthrough, go through the front door, go through the garage, go do all the things that you normally do in your daily life and do them in your dream home, focusing on entering your dream home, focusing, oh, so many times, even though this is still in the process, is still in the works, I would imagine myself out back by the pool, jacuzzi, fire pit area in the backyard with a couple of our friends, and toasting to champagne like we did it, and celebrating something in the backyard and seeing the fire pit. Well, now that I'm in my dream house and we don't have that yet. That's still very much a part of my daily manifestation. And it is happening. I'm cracking the code on this thing, and mark my words, a year, maybe two out, there will be a pullback there. And so, dedicate time every single day to, to immersing yourself in this visualization. And you can't just write it and read it and visualize it. You've got to feel it. You've got to get this into your subconscious mind so your subconscious mind can go to work on it. And Trust me, people, it will absolutely happen to you. Okay, so I had so many other things that I wanted to share in this, but I have yammered on and on. So I just want to also, mention to you that right now I am in the process of recording, and hopefully by Thursday, when this podcast airs, it will be in the new app. But if you are serious about wanting to manifest your dream home, I have already written, I just need to record it, a beautiful meditation hypnosis session that you can use every day, in the morning, in the evening, to help you to get into that manifesting energy to manifest your dream home. So if you want to manifest your dream home, you can start there. You don't you can write out the things, and but you can just use this as another tool to help you to integrate into your daily practice to support your manifestation journey. And in the Believe app, I mean, there's over 1,000 different beautiful, amazing hypnosis sessions that you can use for every walk of life, for manifesting your dream job, to manifesting your dream house, to manifesting a soulmate, to manifesting lots of money, to manifesting a text message or a call, or great guests for a podcast. All of that, it's all in there. So just to wrap up today's journey into manifesting your dream home, just remember, it starts with getting very clear on your vision and really underscoring the importance of details, getting extremely vivid image of your getting an extremely vivid image of your dream home in your mind's eye, narrowing it down, to the place you want to be, letting go of any preconceived notions about costs and about affordability and about all that nonsense. Okay. Because all of that, that's just getting caught up in the how. Okay. The money is just getting caught up in the how. Don't worry about that. Only think about what it is that you want, and a way will come to you. It came to me, and it will come to you. Every thought, every action, every small step you take needs to be aligned with, your intention of moving forward on this. And so set an intention for making this happen. I we had a date, and but dates can move, and so you've got to be flexible about the timeline when things when things happen. But set a date. Just be flexible about the date. Okay. And that is probably one of the best pieces of advice I can give you when it comes to timing. Because the universe is not like set up in the way, like, there's really no such thing as time. It's just a construct that we have made up. So, um, time is kind of irrelevant. It really is. And it'll take the amount of time that it's supposed to take. But set a time and just be flexible with it. And, so before we part ways today, I just really want to leave you with a thought to carry forward. The power of our beliefs shape our reality. Trust in the process. Take action daily with your intentions. Open your heart to the abundance of the universe. Your dream home is not just a place, it is a reflection of you, your innermost desires, and it's just waiting for you to claim it. So I just really want to thank you for sharing this time with me today. Keep believing, keep manifesting, and remember, your dreams are waiting for you to make them come true. The Believe app is your friend, that's going to help you with this. So go to the App Store, download Believe. You can. It's a little funky to find it right now in the app stores, but type in Believe Hypnosis. Okay, and it's a little green app with the little stars, shooting stars. Okay, And so, it's easy to find. You can also go to my website and you will find it there. And so until next time, this is Victoria Gallagher reminding you that whatever you believe, you can achieve. And with that, I'll say goodbye for now. Carry this message in your heart, and may your journey be as fulfilling as the destination. Bye for now.